Congressman Dave Solomon, the editor of the Telegraph. Part of your popularity has to do with your extreme reduction in the size of government that you've proposed, including wholesale elimination of many agencies like the Department of Energy, Department of Education, FEMA, even the IRS. Do you think, if elected, that the people who vote for you should realistically believe these things can be accomplished? Because you would still need Congress and the Supreme Court.
They realistically could believe that that's what I would try to do, but realistically, the president doesn't have that authority, and I'm trying to, reduce the size and scope and the authority of the executive branch. That's one of our greatest threats. So I couldn't do that, but if an individual like myself is elected, it sends a very powerful political message, and that I have noticed is already influencing a lot of people in Congress, because people I've never talked to before are coming up and they're impressed. Where's your support coming from? Where's this money coming from? And their antennas go up. So, it's a shift of political thinking. So I think that there's a limit to what you can do, but you have to be able to lead. I think the area that you have the most responsibility and the most ability to do would be in the foreign policy. But, if you look at the campaign, at the top of the list, they know that I would aim for getting rid of some of these departments, but that wasn't the reason I filed. It was over the war issue and the financial condition of the country and personal liberties. It wasn't to get rid of the Department of Education. Matter of fact, I make the case for saying that some of the individuals and groups that are totally dependent, that we've taught to be dependent, I think I'm the only one that has any commonsensical answer to it, because I want to cut so much money from overseas, cut the deficit, and then the necessary programs that maybe we'll work on later. See, I argue I'm not going to put anybody out in the streets. If they're dependent on Medicaid and Medicare or education, that shouldn't be where we attack it. So I sort of resent the idea that finally we get a veto. It's on child health care, from somebody that I don't think is a true conservative. At the same time, there's no effort to cut the big earmarks for the military-industrial complex, and these hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. Just think of how far that $10 billion could have gone that we have just pumped in the last 6 years into Pakistan to support a military dictator. It's now the whole thing is coming unglued. And that's the reason that the militants have an incentive to rally against our puppet government as well as against us. So the whole nature of things would change if we could devise a system where we could cut and actually see some of these people tided over. So in spite of the fact that philosophically I don't endorse the programs, they shouldn't have ever been started, and it's part of the problem, but it's not part of the early answer.